Hello, everyone. Hello to the visitors to the Hannover Messe 2024. The topic of this year is energizing a sustainable industry, and this is what the European Commission stand tries to demonstrate through the different sessions we have here. And let me now open the session that is focused on skills, because there is no industry without skilled workforce. And indeed, we will be focusing on the aspect to enhance skills for a fair and inclusive transition. So this is a session organized by the European Commission's Health and Digital Executive Agency, HADEA, where I am head of unit for industry dedicated research and innovation projects supported through Horizon Europe program. My name is Victoria Petrova, and let me guide you through what will be happening in the forthcoming half an hour or so. So, first of all, I will give you short insight what HADEA, Health and Digital Executive Agency, is about. And then I will give the floor to our two distinguished speakers who are here with us. Thank you very much for joining us for this event. And indeed, we will have Mr. Stephen Dont from TNO, who will be presenting Upskill and Seismic. And then we will have Karina Maldonado Mariscal, I hope I pronounced it correctly, who is from Technical University of Dortmund, who will be speaking about Bridges for 5.0. So we're talking here about Industry 5.0, including the human-centric aspects of digitalization. So we will have approximately 30 minutes for our session, and indeed it will be followed, the presentations will be followed by the possibility to ask questions, Q&A session. So just before getting started, to give you the indication about why we talk about that, the Commission, the European Commission, has strongly invested in research innovation on constant basis. That is proven. We are already on framework for research in innovation number 9. We are preparing the number 10. Hopefully we will have get funding from the co-legislators on that. And we have constantly invested in skills. And what is essential is that the green and digital transition of industry requires a massive effort to adapt to more environmentally sustainable practices in Europe, but it requires a specific adaptation on the side of the workforce, and that is what we will be talking about. And maybe to give you an indication why HADEA is dealing with that, within HADEA we focus on health, on food sustainability, on digital aspects, space, but also industry, as you can see it here. And we focus on the aspects of raw materials, advanced materials, and sustainable products. And in the part of sustainable products, we focus specifically on the skills necessary for the twin transition being green and digital. What it is behind the desiderata to do that. So we have overall 20 billion given to the Health and Digital Executive Agency to support those tasks. They go from Horizon Europe on two sides, on the health part and on the industry part. And we have EU for Health program, that is the one that provides for the vaccines, for instance, among other things. We have also the single market program, the food safety aspect, so from farm to fork, maybe that rings a bell to you, and connecting your facilities with maybe such things like submarine cables connecting Europe and Americas, as an idea to give you. And then we have Digital Europe program, where we do work also on digital skills, among other things. And here the projects that will be presented are funded on the Horizon Europe industry part, that we have roughly about 5.5 billion over 7 years dedicated to those projects. So this is the QR code for you to access Horizon Europe program. They are running different calls regularly, not constantly, but regularly. So depending on your area of competence, you might be willing to go and search. There's also the funding and tender portal where you can post your profile in order to be possibly sought for a matchmaking. And you could also be looking for partners to build a consortium, because the principle of European funding is that you have to have partners from more than one member state. Obviously, if not, it will be national funding. And so I will be giving now the floor to Steven Dont, who is professor, and he is at the research institute TNO. It's a very famous Dutch research and technology transfer institution. The floor is yours, Mr. Dont.
Thank you, Victoria. It's great to be again here at the Hannover Messe. I was here 2 years ago to present Industry 5.0 in the house of Industry 4.0, and it's always a challenge, but I see that they allowed me to come back, so that's always very nice. So we'll just stay here. I'm coordinating a part of the seismic project, and I'm collaborating with our dear friend Chris Ivory, who is professor in Sweden and in the UK, and he's coordinating the upskill project. I'm going to give you some insights into that, and then also with our colleague here from the Bridges 5.0 project. But maybe just to start with one opening sentence, I'm not sure if you've been able to see the Today Show in the US, where Jon Stewart gave a presentation about AI and work. And he commented on what the top of the American industry thought about work. And they have no clue. They have no understanding of what's going to happen at the shop floor with skills and what technology is going to be doing. They have these grand pictures of possible total unemployment and the fact that maybe if you have a creative mind, you'll survive. So there is a really great need to understand what is happening within companies, and the projects that Victoria and Hadea, or let's say Hadea, are funding are really important to create this understanding of what Industry 5.0 will lead to. Okay, so let me just introduce the two projects that I'm discussing and start with the Upskill project. This project is started by a consortium led by Magdalen University in Sweden, and is focused on trying to understand at the micro level what is happening with the use of technology and how that impacts skills. And to understand why this project is focusing on really the shop floor, the single worker, we need to understand which kind of technologies do exist in Industry 4.0 at this moment. So most of the thoughts in Industry 4.0, if you walk around all these halls, it's about full automation. But what you can see, most of the value is produced in companies that are really artisanal, which are using technology to augment what workers are doing. So it's the bottom line, HHA, as Chris calls these companies. And we need to understand how these companies are dealing with technology and how they are able to enhance the skill of those workers. But you need a different understanding of technology. You need not to think as technology as substituting work, but as technology that is supporting those who are on the shop floor. This research project is in collaboration with major companies like, for example, Ford Motor, but it's also with a lot of companies which are maybe 20, 30 people big, but which are really creating a lot of new kinds of things. the background idea is this shift from Industry 4.0 to Industry 5.0. And the starting point is, of course, what is meant with Industry 4.0. And there, and that's the discussion that we had also 2 years ago, it's still about full automation. And the thing is that what is happening with employees, well, they're going to be rationalized away. So you're trying to attract new talent, but at the same time you're saying, but we're probably not going to need you. And so 2 years ago, or 1 year ago, ChatGPT was launched, and everybody is still talking about, well, we're going to rationalize yourself away. There are so many problems with the newest AI technology. There are so many problems with Industry 4.0 that you really need the shift towards an understanding of Industry 5.0. So you need to see that workers are. I hope that's okay. Okay. No, you need to understand. Oh no, but I had the feedback that it was not the correct picture. But workers need to be seen as the core drivers of what is happening within companies. Certainly, with those smaller companies and the technologies that they're using, you need to have workers that have insight, that have skills, that need to have methods, training systems that help them to upskill what they're doing. That has specific requirements to technology. So it's not about a lot of these technologies around here to fully automate what is happening, but to really fully support those workers that are within these organizations, to build on the experience of the engineers that is there. And the upskill project is trying to understand just that. One of the issues with the upskill project and also with the Bridges project is that we've written all these proposals and started the project before ChatGPT. So a lot of things that we're saying, a lot of people are asking us, but does this still apply in the context of fully automated automation? And there, the seismic project is, of course, a very good starting point. And there, we're trying to understand what happens if we're looking at AI and we want to make industry human-centric. So the a seismic project, which is a collaboration with the University of Rotterdam, Erasmus University, TNO, and I think we have 29 other partners, so it's a really big consortium. It starts from the idea that most technologies do not get sufficiently adapted by companies, adapted by workers. And one of the issues that companies have is that they do not understand that there are 4 types of problems that they're going to be confronted with. So most of these technologies are started from the idea that, well, it will help you collaborate, but you need to integrate the fact that people need to be using their creativity. So that's the first error that technologists and engineers seem to make when they're looking at these technologies. A second challenge is that you want to automate everything, but you need to rely also on the autonomy of the workers to do that. And the third challenge that you have, if you're only focusing with technology on productivity, probably you will not get that. You can only get that if you're also thinking in terms of how that affects the privacy of those who are working within your organization. And the fourth challenge that you probably will see is that most of these technologies are focused on creating a more safer environment, but they are destroying satisfaction of workers at the workplace. So you need to think of these 4 challenges when developing new technologies, when developing better workplaces. And in the so we're using this CAPS framework to look at AI in a lot of pilots. So we're doing that to solve these challenges. I'm not going to deal with them. We can discuss them later on. But we're trying to create 19 pilots in which we're creating with these companies AI-driven solutions for Industry 5.0, in which we're trying to have a better understanding of this human centricity and try to redevelop the organization, but also redevelop the technology itself. So we're looking at ChatGPT and these large language models and trying to give some instructions on how to do that in a better way. At the end, we hope with these projects to create more worker autonomy, better acceptance of these technologies, higher productivity solutions. Europe has this major productivity problem. We're seeing enormous investments into technology, but we're not creating the productivity improvement. And we want to have better testing and other kinds of solutions for the companies. And if we achieve that, then we achieve the seismic shift that we want to have. So 17 pilots, 14 industries, 14 countries. And if you want to know more, let me know.
Thank you indeed. So, as you can see, the two projects presented by Mr. Dont already total around 15 million that have been invested. So that I have to say that is quite impressive amount for this kind of a support schemes. Normally, we have smaller, but if we have decided to award this amount, it means it was worth it. And I'm going to the next presenter, Karina Maldonado Mariscal, who is going to present Bridges 5.0, which is another project that did worth the funding. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, so thanks for the invitation. And I'm glad that Stephen already did the introduction from Industry 4.0, because I'm talking about Bridges 5.0. And in this context, this transition has many challenges, but in the beginning requires a lot of innovation, changing of practices, and specific target groups that we can work with it. An additional goal is the generation of data, current and also data that can be useful for the future. So in this context, companies need a lot of innovation, of course, but as Stephen already said, more technology is being implemented, and this technology needs to be implemented in a co-created form with workers in order to learn from the technology and use it in a more productive way. So in this way, the project Bridges 5.0 is trying to create skills interventions where going from the problem solving and learning. One of the key issues in Industry 5.0 is the focus on human-centric and the development of sustainable and resilient society, but of course industries. In this sense, one of my favorite parts of these projects is this, where there is the approach of changing and experimenting a lot. On the one hand, we have teaching factories, is the name in the project, teaching factories, which involve creating experimental spaces with workers and managers for the job transformation and to adapt all these new practices. On the other hand, we also have learning factories interventions, which is more related with education and vocational education, and with students and unemployed. In this context, we are focusing in these 4 target groups, and creating also regional networks for this. So third, the collection of data and the generation of data. There is a lot of data at the European level. We have a lot of at the CEDESOF, which is the European Center of Vocational Education, and this project is using this data of these large language models that try to pick up all the job profiles from different companies and so on. But it is also generating data at the national and regional level. So it's identifying skill sets and is training with a specific organizational settings. So this is kind of summarizing the main objectives of the project, which basically looks for creating a kind of mapping of the transition of the new skills, the new digital and green skills, but also map and monitor how these are changing and how this can enable the new generation of jobs, let's say. It set up different learning trajectories, which I say is all these learning and factories, and engage a range of companies and different stakeholders in the search for involving also policymakers and vocational education providers. So it's a very big project as well. It's actually Stephen Donto is coordinating. And this project also creates Industry 5.0 platform, which is one of the main goals as well. So this is an overview of the partners and the involvement of the different European countries. And yeah, TNO is coordinating, and we in TU Dortmund, we are also accompanying the research part, and yeah, we have been also involved in yeah, contacting some of the German companies which are innovating in vocational education. Yeah, so thank you very much. That's the brief introduction of Bridges 5.0.
Thank you very much. Maybe before the audience thinks about questions, I could give it a try. So you mentioned the transition. So automation, robotization is bringing a lot of changes. I have been working in the area of automotive, that is also industrial internal market. And one of the big questions, what will happen to the taxi drivers when we will have unmanned vehicles? So maybe we have to start thinking about that. So bringing that to the level of manufacturing. In the next halls over there, you have all these absolutely stunning robots that are capable to perform heavy, complex work on 2D, 3D aspects very fast. So what is the place of the worker? What is the challenge for maybe this robot-human interaction? What do you think is required for the employers nowadays to help them go through that, have still adapted workforce and perform the best? So I will start with Steven and then with Karina, please.
Yes. Well, if you would have asked this question 10 years ago with the taxi drivers, then everyone would say that, well, Uber will take over the market and there will be no taxi drivers. Everyone will be driving for others. I think that's still the general plan of, for example, our friend at Tesla. But if you look, for example, at the Netherlands, the number of taxi drivers has nearly doubled since over the past 10 years. And that's the issue that we have in most industries. The idea from management and from engineers is that the technological transformation will eradicate jobs. But everyone here is looking for new personnel, is looking for new hands, trying to find the right skills to co-develop and further the companies. Managers in the technological transformation need a change in mindset. If they want to progress, if they want to make companies more productive, then they need to understand how this human technology collaboration needs to be developed. And so there is no silver bullet for this. There are several silver bullets. We're investigating them over the different projects, and I would really advocate managers and engineers to come and have a look at these projects to understand what is needed for the future.
Yeah, I would agree that I mean the jobs are not disappearing, but they are changing, and one of the key issues is the acceptance of the workers with new technologies and the lifelong learning, which is a key issue in order to go ahead with these challenges. So, yeah, co-creation and acceptance and education.
Thank you. I will share, yesterday I was touring around here and I happened to be at the stand of Capgemini, and their specific session was about the evolution of their workplace and the different methods of working together. So it's even for an electronics company or IT company, it's very much in the heart of their thinking. And what do you believe needs to change in the mindset? I will give you a hint. My daughter said, you know, in the 80s, you thought that by 2000 you will be all flying around. It's sufficient to watch the movies and no one will be walking and everything will be done by the machines. Well, we still walk, we still have 4 wheels or 3 wheels. We are still on the ground. So what we believe now will be happening in 20 years maybe won't be the case. So do you believe that it won't be the case, or do you believe that our mindset will have to change drastically faster than what we could expect? So Stephen and Karina.
Well, as I guess you already know that kind of line of thinking that I'm having here is that it is quasi impossible to predict the future, certainly on the basis of information of the past. So most of the skills predictions of the future are based on circular thinking, saying that probably you need more creative tasks. So if you do not have creative tasks in your function, you will not exist in the future. But we still see that we need postmen, we still need people delivering food, we still need teachers, we still need presenters here to do a lot of things. Some of these things seem as tasks quite simple, but they're extremely hard to automate. But what we can do is try to think in terms of what is needed to make organizations more productive. How do we create this collaboration between the humans, myself, and what is happening here? We have all these very nice tools which have not been developed to substitute me, but to help me and to present, help me pass the message on to all of you. So technologies are in collaboration with me, and hopefully to create this understanding of what this future should be.
Yeah, I would say the mindset has changed already a lot in the last years. Last year in Hannover Messe, I remember I was completely surprised how engineers and sociologists were sitting together and working together, but it's happening. The point is that we still need to go ahead faster for the future challenges and the current challenges, as Stephen said, in order to have more resilient and have reactions not so delayed in time. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. If there are no questions in the audience, I will try the pointer. We'll see whether I still have one slide left. I'm not sure about that. No. So then I will be going to the stand here. Thank you very much. I think this leads us to concluding this session. Thank you very much for the insight. And I I will be taking the advantage of being here on stage and monopolizing your attention for a couple of more minutes, though, to present you on the basis of the projects that we have running in Hadea. We have produced a brochure called Human-Centric Manufacturing. It's a core pack. There you could scan the QR code. I have a couple of cards. So human-centric manufacturing. It can be found on internet. You could find also other production that we have delivered. I'm seizing the opportunity to promote more of our projects. We have produced specific information about the advanced innovative materials, basically novel materials that do not exist. So you could find very interesting elements. Those are used for nanomedicine. They are used for self-repairable, restorable windmills, etc. So it could be very interesting for you. And we did produce also a core pack that is about Open Innovation Testbed. It's a way to access European research top-notch infrastructure from a single gateway. For instance, to make a testing or validation of your concept, of your new ideas, projects that could be in manufacturing, could be in medicine, it could be also in some aspects of let's say tribology. We're here in the industrial sector, so this is also another production we have. You could find maybe the QR codes on the tables. If not, you can turn to me later on. And that lets me to conclude this session. So we need the adapted mindsets and workforce to make all the wonderful robots around presented here work. So that is paving the way for some deep transition, transformation, and thank you very much for doing all these projects with us. Thank you for the audience being here, and I wish you a pleasant afternoon here at Hannover Messe.